Yeah, it's time for final thoughts. If you were out busting your back at work today, you may not be aware it is a day without immigrants. Another protest against border security, Donald Trump, and the law. Amazing.
Isn't it, Tommy? Isn't it amazing when a community unites to protest against being continuously used as scapegoats for all of our country's misfortunes? Scapegoating immigrants is nothing new for our country. We have a history of doing this to immigrants. We did it to the Italians, the Irish, and now, shockingly, we're doing it to our current immigrant population.
Stores and restaurants nationwide remain closed today or sold only limited food and products.
Is it me, George, or does Tommy look a little upset? Like she didn't get her pan dulce for the day.
Pues hasta yo estuviera enojado si no me dieran mi concha.
To show support for immigrants and showcase how migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life.
DJ, give me that cut one more time.
Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life. Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life.
Essential, because that's $11.64 billion paid annually in state and local taxes by undocumented immigrants. Essential, because that's $12 billion paid annually to the Social Security Trust Fund paid by undocumented immigrants. And let's not forget the billions of dollars that have been profited from the use of cheap labor over 3 decades.
They forgot a very important word, a word they just can't seem to wrap their little liberal minds around or understand in the slightest. That word is illegal.
A term that you feel very comfortable using to refer to the undocumented community. A term that the Associated Press and other major publications have stopped using. Why? Because people like you, who like to use this term to refer to a group of 11 million human beings.
Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life.
This term does nothing but belittle and dehumanize a large population of people in our country. Hashtag superiority complex.
So if this is a day without illegal immigrants, I'm not complaining. See, a day without illegal immigrants would mean the families of Kate Steinle, Grant Ronnebeck, Joshua Wilkerson, Shaylee Estes, Jamil Shaw, and many others would have their loved ones back.
Out of all the arguments the Trump administration makes, this by far has to be one of the most terrifying arguments used. Every time they bring up the immigration debate, they always refer to murders committed by undocumented immigrants. Don't believe me?
As I travel the country, I had the chance to get to know mothers who have lost their children to violence spilling over the border. We are joined here this afternoon by parents whose children were horribly killed by individuals living here illegally.
Well, my heart goes out to those families and those situations. This is not an accurate representation of the majority of the undocumented community in this nation. This is fear-mongering. The Trump administration's hope is that the majority of the American public will equate undocumented immigrants as criminals. Why? So that they can present enforcement-only immigration legislation that will appease their private prison corporation lobbyists and friends who are hoping for billion-dollar paydays.
A day without illegal immigrants would mean hardworking parents wouldn't have to bust their butts to send their American-born children to college, while so-called dreamers get a pass on their illegal status, in-state tuition, and special student centers to glorify their law-breaking activities.
Tommy, you must have missed that in Arizona and in Georgia, the judiciary found that because of DACA, these
so-called dreamers
do in fact have lawful presence in our country and therefore are allowed to be eligible for in-state tuition. And it's just pretty flat out offensive how you imply that immigrant parents are not out there busting their butts as well to put their kids through college. Last time I checked, they're out there doing this, and oh yeah, this.
Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life.
And for all you DACA haters out there, if DACA is taken away by this current administration, the Center for American Progress reports that it would wipe away at least $433 billion from the U.S. GDP cumulatively over a decade. Careful what you wish for.
A day without illegal immigrants is an end to unaccompanied minors trekked across the border, jammed into a car trunk, or trafficked with a coyote.
Wow, this makes no sense. The unaccompanied minors are coming to the U.S. because they're fleeing gang and drug-related violence in Central America, which, by the way, is only getting worse. They're not fleeing their countries because they want to come here and find a good paying job? They are fleeing because of violence. They are in fear of their lives.
A day without illegal immigrants means a safer America for us all, as illegal immigrants are 3 times as likely to be convicted of murder as members of the general population.
There she goes again. Doom and gloom when talking about the undocumented community. Pay attention, familia, because things are about to get real.
Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life.
This stat that she just used is based on violent crimes that are handled only by the federal court system. As journalist Alan Gomez reported in USA Today, undocumented immigrants accounted for 9.2% of federal murder convictions in 2013. But that represents a grand total of 8 murder cases. When you consider that the FBI estimates that there were over 14,000 murders in the US in 2013, you have to ask yourself, is that really a fair sample size? The answer is no. Get ready, fam, because I'm about to drop even more knowledge. From the year 1990 to 2013, the number of undocumented immigrants in this country tripled from 3.5 million to 11.2 million. Yet during that time, violent crime rates in this country dropped 48% nationwide.
A day without illegal immigrants isn't bigoted or intolerant or racist. It's respect for borders, law, and order.
Not intolerant or racist? I sincerely doubt that you do not see the comments that your followers post on social media.
Illegal immigration isn't a race, it's an activity. So if you think that means hating Mexicans, you're the racist.
That is so easy for you to say, considering a large portion of the undocumented population is comprised of minorities, coupled with the fact that all over social media, as mentioned before, many anti-immigrants make bigoted, racist remarks. I would have to say that you were very mistaken.
The fact these boycotters and protesters have the gall to issue a list of demands goes to show what 8 years of illegal immigrant coddling does to a nation.
Yeah. Because the Obama administration coddled the undocumented community by deporting more than 2 million immigrants in 8 years. Isn't that what you anti-immigrant diehards wanted in the first place? Man, nothing satisfies these people.
Where's my mother-in-law?
So what do they want? Well, the removal of immigration enforcement officers from D.C., local governments forced to pay for losses from federal funds stripped from so-called sanctuary cities, increased access to language education, and the removal of the undocumented mark from D.C. driver's licenses.
I'm sure in your very closed world, Tommy, that is all you see. They were marching so that their voices could be heard. Voices that are often ignored and underrepresented. They are asking the U.S. to recognize not only the economic contribution that they have made to this country over a number of years, they are speaking out against people like you who choose to live their lives spreading fear about them and their families. They are not only fighting for themselves, but they are fighting for the future of their families, so they are not in turn separated from them. Something that may make
zero common sense
to you, but makes perfect sense to so many of us. DJ, hit me back with that one more time.
Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life. Migrants are essential for the U.S. economy and everyday life.
Thank you for watching this. Please share this video. Make sure we counteract this negative anti-immigrant rhetoric that people are trying to spread. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at JP Dominguez. See you guys next time.